and welcome to Felixstowe Television. Now, we've been ticking over, and as you know, most things get round Felixstowe very quickly. We're a small village, really. Everybody talks about everything. You know that we've moved the radio and the television down to the old Coes building at the top of Bent Hill. And if you're passing by, do look in and see us, please. But we haven't been doing a lot of recording because it's been a major job, as you can imagine, moving a television studio and a radio studio down into new premises. But thank God we're getting there slowly but surely. I hope you listen to the radio on FM 107.5 because that's going strong. We've never interrupted our transmissions. But I'm pleased to say we're going to have our television back again very shortly because today is a special day. We've got the gentleman who is going to take over the television, we hope, and run it for us with me today, and you're going to meet him for the first time. And so here I am. A very warm welcome to you, Paul.
Thank you, Eric.
And it's nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Now, I'd like to know a little bit about you, and I'm sure our visitors want to know, all our viewers want to know. You're a Felixstowe man.
Yes, Felixstowe man, born and bred.
Born and bred, that's brilliant. And not only you, Felixstowe, but your father and your grandfather too.
That's right, yes.
Now, tell me something about your grandfather. That's really going back a bit. I don't know many people whose grandfathers came from Felixstowe too.
Well, you could call him an immigrant because he came from Bury.
From Bury?
St Edmunds. But
yes.
The story of coming back to Felixstowe was that when he met my grandmother,
yes,
soon to be his wife,
yes,
he rode a horse and cart,
yes,
and he met his future wife when he went and delivered to Barrow, which is in Suffolk.
Yes.
And she was in service in the big house.
Yes.
And because he delivered things to this house,
yes,
they met and fell in love.
Oh, I
so
see.
one day,
how wonderful!
One day,
but what was he driving then?
I can't remember what he was delivering.
No, but I mean, what was
horse
it?
and cart.
Horse and cart.
Horse
we
and
are
cart.
really going back
That's a long
in time,
way to go,
isn't it? Yes, yes.
And he met her, and they fell in love.
Yes.
So one day, he turned up on her doorstep.
Yes.
So he had a suitcase. They threw it in the back of the
horse and cart,
and off they went.
Yeah.
And they eventually ended up in Felixstowe.
Isn't that brilliant?
Where he actually worked for the council for many years until he retired.
Did he? So you really got your roots in.
That's right.
And so, what is it rude to ask what year you were born?
48.
48. Well, you're the right era. You see, I know a little bit about your life, and I think it's wonderful because you back in the days when there was motivation, and people didn't just rely on benefit and what's it. They went out and had to find something, and your life is a good example of it. Now, you went to school in Felixstowe, so
Yes, I did.
So which ones did you go to?
We started at the primary school.
Oh yes.
At in Maidstone Road.
Oh yes, yes.
By the railway bridge.
Yes.
Then to
yes.
Corston.
Yes.
And then on to what was then the secondary mod.
Oh goodness
which
gracious.
is now the academy. It's all
Yes.
called down there. And that's the
Yes.
academy.
And then from that, you left school at what age?
15.
15, straight into the Navy.
Yeah, I left school.
That's
on
wonderful.
I left school on the Friday, and I was
Yes.
in the Navy on the Tuesday.
On the Tuesday.
Which was the
And
24th of
I
March.
presume you went across the river to Ganges.
I did.
People forget that.
Oh, yeah.
You know that the Ganges were there. They've still got the big pole there that the boys
still
used.
have the
Did you
mast.
climb up that mast?
Yes, I went up that. They used to let us on recreation on a Sunday afternoon. They used to let anybody go up it.
Yes, goodness.
Well, the weather, so long as the weather was okay.
So tell us a little bit about the Navy, because that's going something. That's after the war, and
well, the training in them days, you just signed on.
Yes.
And they took you away for a year at Ganges because I was only a boys' seaman.
Oh, I
at
see.
15.
Yes, yes. So you were a year at
I
Ganges.
was a whole year at Ganges.
And you came home to Felixstowe. Did you go right the way round, or did you come across the river?
Well, they used to have a Liberty boat.
Oh, I
in the
see.
afternoon.
Of course they would. So you get the Liberty boat over to Felixstowe.
or Harwich.
Oh, I see.
And because in those days, on a Sunday afternoon,
Yes.
all you saw along the prom was hundreds of junior seamen in their smart square uniforms.
Of course.
I was lucky because I could go home for lunch
Yes.
and meet the family.
Isn't that wonderful? Gosh, that's an experience. I don't think there are many people about now who can remember Ganges, let alone having been
I think
there.
the older ones can.
Oh, perhaps the older ones can.
And I think the older ladies might remember seeing the sailors walking along the road because it was good luck to touch their collars.
Was it really?
They wore
yes, and it was good luck to touch the collar.
It was good luck to touch a sailor's collar.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Oh, that's. I bet a lot of ladies had a lot of fun with that.
Well, we used to engineer it so we got in the way, so they had to touch our collars. We were only between 15 and 16 years
Never
old.
mind, that's a good age. It's a good age. And then tell me, what did you do when you qualified for out of Ganges? What happened then?
I went to HMS Vernon to the torpedo and anti-submarine
That's in Portsmouth, Vernon.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
That's all gone now. That's basically on the site of the big landmark they've built there now. I think it's a hotel.
Yes, really.
Like a big sail.
Yes, I haven't been to Portsmouth for years, but
it's like everywhere, it's all changed.
It's changed. Everything changes.
Everybody that was in the Navy in them days would always remember Commercial Road, which was like the place where all the pubs and everything was. That's where all the action was. That's where the action
was. Yes, there was a lot of action with the seamen. Yes. And then what happened? What did you do in the Navy?
I moved from there and went down to a ship. HMS Londonderry was the first ship I ever had as a junior seaman.
Yes.
And we travelled out to the Far East, through Mediterranean, through the
Suez Canal. Yes, that's right.
The Indian Ocean, then on to Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Then I come back from there.
But you stayed in Hong Kong for a period.
that was a couple of years later.
Oh, it was later on.
I came back and I was like, then I was shore base again. I think it was when I was training in HMS Vernon.
Yes.
They were training foreign nationals, the underwater weapon techniques.
Underwater weapons? What sort of underwater weapons did they have?
Well, they were anti-submarine weapons.
Oh, I see.
Because a lot of the navies around the world used to buy our old warships.
Of course.
They had our weapons on board, so and I was primarily training Iranian naval officers.
Iranian officers, isn't that interesting?
How that worked.
Yes, isn't that fascinating? And what about your love life, if I can ask it? Had you got...
I've been married and divorced in this time.
Up to that point?
No, I was still married.
You're still married then? Yeah, well, that's nice. Because you've had 3 marriages, haven't you?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Yes, well, that shows you've got a lot of experience.
I've been very lucky.
Very lucky, yes.
I suppose.
Very lucky.
Because they're all lovely ladies.
Well, that's good. But anyway, so you went out and lived in Hong Kong with the Navy?
I was stationed in Hong Kong for 2 years with my wife.
With your wife and daughter.
And
you had daughter,
Sarah.
Yes, that's lovely, isn't it?
And I worked in the Commodore's office as a courier.
Did you?
And my job was to transport documents around the colony.
Really?
In the case chain.
Yes, because Hong Kong was a different place in those days. Today, China rules the world, it owns the world, I should think.
Yes.
But lovely people, the Chinese.
Oh yeah.
But in those days, Hong Kong was very cosmopolitan, wasn't it?
But we had a lovely time.
And you played football out there?
I played
cricket
football,
and
all the sports.
Yes.
Keep fit.
Yes.
All military people like me.
And then you came back to England, and what happened then?
I came back to England, and I was drafted to HMS Wilton, which was the first glass reinforced plastic.
Glass reinforced
minesweeper.
Minesweeper,
well,
really?
Mine sweeper.
Really? Isn't that
I was
interesting?
the chief boatswain's mate on there, which was the senior junior rank.
People don't realise with boats now, there's so much glass fibre, so much metal. Before, every boat was wood.
Yeah. Well, the minesweepers up to that time were wood.
Yes.
But then they needed something lighter, obviously, and that's not magnetic, so they went for plastic.
It's another story. You have to watch my series on my life, but I've got a Radio Times copy. We're going off the subject for a minute, and it says they laughed at him. Picture of me in the Radio Times. It said they laughed at him when he suggested glass fibre boats.
Oh wow!
I was involved with the beginning of those, so I'm fascinated to know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then what happened? You came back to England, and
came back to England. Then I left the Navy.
Now you say you left the Navy.
Yeah.
You were in the Navy for 10 years, and how did you come to leave it? Because normally, you sign on and for.
I actually purchased my discharge.
Now, tell us about that, because that's something which people don't know about, how you can purchase your discharge.
I don't know if they can now, but at the time, if you're unhappy or you've got things happening in your life, which is difficult, and I was going through a pretty down period in my life, so I purchased I borrowed £100 off my dad, Then I
Had
put
to
in
pay £100 to get
£100.
out of the
It's
Navy.
called discharge by purchase.
Isn't that
I came out of
fascinating?
the Navy,
Yes.
but I still stayed at sea, as it were, because then I went to join the dredger, the John Gauntlet, which
What, here in Felixstowe?
came out at the Langard Point.
So you actually, so what the docks in those days weren't as they are now.
No.
But but you were
just-
still dredging that channel, presumably.
Oh, we went out onto the sandbank just outside.
Yes.
And we used to go on there early in the morning,
Gosh.
run up the sandbank, stick
Yeah.
the pipe in the sand,
Yes.
the stone,
Yes.
and then dredge it all back into the hole. So when the tide came up, we came back in, and the crane used to bring it off, put it up on the conveyors, and put it in a different piles. It graded it all there, and
Fascinating.
then the ready mix was there.
Yes.
They got their sand and stones from there,
Yes.
and that's where a lot of the lorries used to come to get sand and ballast.
I
The building
see.
industry.
Because this was before it was containers. In those days, I don't think they had containers, did they?
I don't know. There was
I'm not sure
I think
when
the
they
containers
introduced,
were just
because
starting, wasn't
the
it?
dockers were dreadful. They used to unload ships, and it was one for us and three for the
Oh, I don't
one
know
for
about
us. But this is why containers came about,
Yeah.
because there was so much pilferage, unfortunately, all over the world. It wasn't just in England,
Yeah.
and because of that, they introduced containers, which are completely foolproof and thief-proof,
Right, yeah.
which is a good thing. But then, so you after the dredger, how long were you with the dredger?
I was, actual fact, I was on the plant at All Aggregates.
Yes.
The only time I was on that, the dredger and the plant. And
Yes.
they got rid of the dredger and got a newer one. Which
Yes.
is called I think it's called the Sand Snipe. Which is a
Yes.
smaller one, but
Yeah.
a bit more like a ship as
I
opposed to a
see.
big barge.
Yes. Yes.
And I eventually went on to that, and then I was on that only for a short time, just filling in because
Yes.
I had a ticket for helmsman's ticket.
Did you? Oh, well, that was valuable. Yes.
And that was a proper, like a little merchant navy ship. They had
Yeah.
a proper captain. in it.
But the docks were quite different then, and there was a lot
Yeah.
of ship repairing, and you went into ship repairing
Yeah,
too.
I went to James Ship Repairing, which
Gosh,
I don't know
uh-huh.
if it's still there. And
Yes.
they used to, and I remember when one of the loading ramps on one of the Townsend Torreson boats
Yeah.
fell off. We
Oh,
were
dear.
involved in that for a week because all the
Really?
hinges had to be rewelded. and
really?
that. And I was
Goodness.
only just a pipe fitter's mate then.
Yes.
Well, just a general dog's body.
Well, it doesn't matter there. But Felixstowe docks looked completely different in those days. I've been told, and you've told me, that it was covered with tanks.
Yeah, then I went on to the tank
big,
farm.
big tanks, and it was
Yeah.
called a tank farm.
Felixstowe Tank
And what did they
Development,
keep
yeah.
in the tanks?
It was all chemicals, fuel,
Was
well,
it?
everything really.
Oh, I see.
Fertilisers, everything.
And you were working with the tanks. These are sort of like gas tanks, presumably.
Yeah, big round
gas tanks.
And
Isn't that amazing?
I was on the tank cleaning squad.
Yes.
So what our job was when the tank was emptied or needed cleaning, we had to
Yes.
go inside and
Yes.
hose it down and clean it down.
Well, that's fascinating. People don't realise. They go down to the docks to see all the containers. They don't realise what a change there's been. Imagine that, all tanks all
Yeah.
over it. Yes. And then, so you gave up that, and then you did what?
I'm trying to remember.
Or let me have a look at my notes.
to cut
I can tell you, you went to Spain.
Oh, that's right.
You
yeah.
went to Spain.
I went to work in Spain.
Spain, yes.
Chap I was living next door to in Trimley
Yes.
was married to a Spanish lady,
Yes.
and there was a lovely couple, and they were moving back to Spain to set
Yes.
up a business,
Yes.
and asked me if I'd go with them.
Brilliant.
So I basically went down to Spain with them
Yes.
as a chauffeur, general sort of dog
Chauffeur.
body.
That's a different. You've done everything.
Well, some.
But as I said at the beginning, you're a good example of the motivation. Today people just sit back and wait for the money to come in. But in those days you had to go out and find
Work.
something to do and work. So you went as a chauffeur, and how long were you in Spain?
I was there 2 years.
2 years. Oh, that's
Yeah,
very
I was
good.
taking clients from the airport
Yes,
to meet my boss there,
Yes.
and he'd show them around the properties,
yes,
and they put them up in the hotel for a few days,
yes.
and that was a great life.
Yes. Because not only were you working like this, but in the evenings, particularly back in England, you were doing part-time bar work
Yeah,
and taxi
Taxi work, yeah.
work. So this is it. It's
Well, we still-
wonderful. There's real
even-
enthusiasm.
even in those days we had to make sort of a little bit extra.
Had to make the
ends
extra
meet.
money. That's right. It didn't rely on housing benefit and all the rest. You didn't get anything like that. You had to go out and earn it.
Yeah.
But then you came back to England, and what did you do then?
I'm left on my time. I think I went back to the tank farm and worked there again.
Yes, it says back in the tank job there.
Yeah.
And of course you were a milkman as well.
I was for a period of time, yeah.
Well, is there
co-op.
anything you haven't done?
Yeah.
This is the thing. But while you were at that period, this is when you started your interest in filming.
That's right.
And you started, tell us about what little business you started in filming weddings and filmmaking.
Yeah, I got interested. I bought some video equipment,
Yes,
a camera basically, that's all I had,
yes.
and decided that that's what I wanted to do. So I had to buy myself a little edit suite,
Good.
and I got monitors, and I built a small studio in my back garden. I lived in Ipswich,
Yes,
and I'd go out at the weekend, on Saturday obviously most of the time, and film weddings, and I'd take it home, edit the whole thing together, and
Brilliant.
hopefully by the evening I could take it and show it to the people that had got so busy that a friend of mine I worked with at the tank farm,
Yes.
he came in on it with me,
Yes,
and he was filming weddings, and we did weddings, baptisms.
yes,
There was a really nice, and my son actually one time I wrote him in,
yeah,
and he filmed there was a baptism up at one of the Baptist church,
yes,
and they used to have the pit in the ground,
yes.
and lots of the people used to be baptised that way.
I see.
So I got Simon to do that. That was my son,
Yes,
and he enjoyed it. And we
Lovely.
actually, I just remembered, we actually went to the Civic College once a week for about a month,
yes.
6 weeks, to do media studies on filming.
Did
and
you
stuff.
really? Goodness.
So
Well, we're hoping it's going to stand you in good stead now with
Oh,
Felixstowe Television.
yeah,
But then you got involved with the solar
yeah,
place, the 10-pin bowling place in Ipswich.
in Ipswich.
Tell
yeah.
us about what you did with them.
Well, the job was coming up, and I always enjoyed bar work, and they were looking
Yes.
for a barman.
Yes,
I didn't know anything about 10-pin bowling, so I went along and got the job there.
yes,
And it was really nice actually, because the first 3 days we were just sitting around doing training and all the rest of it.
yes.
And the lanes had only just been finished being built, so we spent 3 days just playing bowling all day
That's
long.
how nice.
Which
You
is
got
very
some
good.
experience, yes.
Yeah, then the work started when they opened, and
Yes.
it turned out to be a great success. And
Yes.
they built another one in Norwich.
Yes,
When I moved to Norwich and became the bar manager for the group bar manager.
yeah. You go
Living
with
in
group bar
Norwich.
manager, so that
Yeah.
you certainly must have ability to, because it's quite a job that is. But so at any rate, then you've had 3 wives, and how many children?
2 children.
2 children. So you've had a very full life.
Yes.
And
I'm
now
a very lucky man.
tell us the last chapter, because we're nearly there now. Now you were group bar manager,
Yeah.
and now you've retired.
Well, the very last job I had
Yes,
when I left Solar Bowl
yes,
was because I was living in Harlesden at the time. I actually bought a house in Harlesden
yes,
so that I could be between Norwich and Felixstowe. So it was
Yes.
half the travel,
Yes, yes.
because I'd sometimes be in Felixstowe
Yes.
and sometimes in Norwich. And I got a job there at the Apollo Rooms, which Mr. Jerry, he used to have a factory there, I think making agricultural
oh
machinery.
yes, yes.
He turned the big warehouse into a club and a snooker club.
Ah, brilliant.
So it was like a big dance hall, which
Yes.
was very busy sort of weekends.
Yes,
And I spent the Millennium night there, all night there,
really.
and there was snooker there as well.
Yes.
We had a big party, the big Millennium party
Brilliant,
there.
yes,
And well, I always remember sitting down at 10 o'clock on the New Year's Eve
yes.
and having our bacon rolls and saying,
Oh,
what a great party we had.
Wasn't it good?
And
Yes.
none of us asked for an extra bonus because we enjoy doing it so much.
Isn't that nice? But at any rate, now we hope that you're going to be a great success with Felixstowe Television. You've got the experience, because I think anybody who can handle a bar, if you can handle a drunk, you can handle a television studio. I'm sure of that. So I hope you've all enjoyed listening to this live and having met Paul, because I'm hoping that he will be doing a lot of filming for us, and you'll see him again. If we can persuade him to present, then he'll be presenting programs. But time, unfortunately, is running short now. It's great to be back, and I hope that you will continue watching and telling people. There's one little thing I must tell you, and it shows how Felixstowe Television is watched all over the world, because we had a letter from Germany telling us that our webcam had cobwebs on it. Not a letter, an email. And so we went up and cleaned it, and we got another one back straight away saying, thank you for doing that. I watch it every day. So we also know people watch it in Singapore, Australia, and all over the world. So not only are you watching, but it's going everywhere. Thank you for watching, and have a lovely day. Thank you.